Check 1, 2. Sounds good.
Check. I'm not singing, but
I am testing the microphone.
testing
I am
the microphone.
testing the microphone.
I'll get out of this.
It's so nice to be here, isn't it?
It's lovely. It's really great.
We're moms.
So, I'm Brigid Reedy, and this is my dad, John, and we live in Montana. And I'm homeschooled along with my little brother, Johnny, and we've just been playing music our whole lives. My dad is a singer-songwriter poet, and he is a beautiful photographer and a great guitar player.
You're so
And then
nice.
I play this thing occasionally. And we're going to start off with Montana. Mountain, sweetgrass hills standing tall, endless skies and waterfalls. Me, oh my, she's got it all. Mountain, wash me in her waters, roll me on her plains, take me to the one I love. Montana is her name, where neighbors greet you with a smile, a pretty picture every mile. I think I'm gonna stay a while. Montana. Wash me in her waters, roll me on her plains, take me to the one I love. Montana is her name, where neighbors greet you with a smile, a pretty picture every mile. Oh, I think I'm gonna stay a while in Montana. You know, it was such a beautiful drive up here today. From the very beginning, after when the light first came up, the whole world, it looked like it had been completely scrubbed clean. Everything was bright and shiny. It was like the colors had been amped up a billion times. And there were antelope and deer and beautiful snow-capped mountains, and I just sat there just in awe the entire drive because it was so beautiful. I'm going to do a little poem next, followed by a couple of fiddle tunes that I wrote. This poem's called Grace, and it was written by Paul Zarziski, who was a great cowboy poet who lives up in Montana. In the soft, low light up high, where love has always thrived and will forever yearn for the colorful hover. A brushstroke of words out of the west. We still want free life. We still want fresh air. And as millenniums meander by, like birthdays to the earth, what thrill a saffron blade of grass, blue sage, scrub oak, still gives us on our daily jaunt across the land, our daily poem, our prayer. called Only a Day's Ride Away.
Saddle up that pony, head her into the sun. Walk, trot, break into a run. There are new songs that need to be sung. Only a day's ride away. In the darkness of a lonely room, icy windows, fingernail moon. Fire dies down, but soon morning's on its way. Deep tracks on a canvas of snow, painted meadow, sunrise glow. Your hand, your own brush stroke. It's only a day's ride away. Watch your breath float up on the cold finishing clouds. Started long ago. Breathe them in, you're never alone. Only a day's ride away. Life's about a dream, the moon follows you home. Just remember wherever you go, we're only days right away. Grace and beauty will be your guide. Stay in the middle, enjoy the ride. Keep your mind wide-eyed. Ready for change. There's no wire in your path. The gates are all open. Let her have her head. She knows where she's going. Find yourself inside of your own home. It's only a day's ride away. I'm going to finish off with Montana Cowboy. 1, 2, 3. For many long years I played long hand, rode my horse in many old lands, then run down
wonderful music coming your way from those two guys over there.
Man, let's give them another big hand. Have my friend Bill come up and scratch on a little washboard for us. So we all having a good time here tonight? Good to be back in Shoshone. Don't ever get down here but once a year. I sure like it when I get here. Nice, fun people. Did you tune up your washboard?
I did.
Oh, good. Well, it's 2 eggs up on a whiskey toast, home fries on the side. Wash it down with cold black coffee that burns your insides. Just a canyon Colorado diner, get a waitress I didn't love. Learn to make the old stuffed bells on that Navajo run. Well, old Jack the boss, he left at 6. Katie barred the door. She pulled out that Navajo rug and spread it across the floor. Hey, I saw lightning cross the cigarette packs all over the road. I'm lying next to Katie, that old Navajo rug, and Katie, shades of red and blue, Katie, ever became on the Navajo rug, Katie, shades of red and blue. I saw Jack about a year ago. He said the place burned to ground. All I say sold better tooth and keep. She left town. Every day she got her souvenir. First Jack spat out the back of the blood. Oh, and you ought to see her coming through the flames, dragging that Navajo rug, and hey, shades of red and blue, and hey, never became on the Navajo rug, hey, shades of red and blue. I never did cross the sacred mountains like the strange of love. Always thinking back in time to my long skinny love. Guessing everything keeps on moving and everything's on the go. Born, you don't find things that last anymore like an old Navajo, and hey, shades of red and blue, and hey, never became on the Navajo rug, hey, shades of red and blue, hey, shades of red and blue, hey, never became on the Navajo rug, hey, shades of red and blue. Daryl Scott tune here. Last one was a Tom Russell Ian Tyson tune. dark hills of eastern Kentucky. That's the place where I traced my bloodline. It was there I read on a hillside gravestone, you'll never leave Harlem alive. Oh, my granddad's dad walked down Catherine Mountain, and he asked to be held to be his bride. Won't you walk with me out of the mouth of this harbor? He said you'll never leave Harlem alive. And the sun comes up about 10 in the morning, and the sun goes down about 3 in the day, and you feel your cup. Give up dinner, you're drinking, and you spend your life just thinking on how to get away. The one never knew there was cold in the mountains till a man from the northeast arrived with $100 bills. He said, I'll pay you for your minerals, but he never let down. Granny sold out cheap, moved west to Pineville, to a farm where that big Richland River winds. He said, cast a little jig, he liked to lead a new song, but they never left Harlem alive. When the sun comes up about 10 in the morning, and the sun goes down about 3 in the day, and you feel your love. Never you're drinking, and you spend your life just thinking on how to get away. The times got tough, tobacco wasn't selling, but old granddad knew he had to do to survive. Picked up for hard and cold, sent money back to Granny, but he never left Harlem alive. And the sun comes up about 10 in the morning, and the sun goes down about 3 in the day. You're drinking, and you spend your life digging coal from the bottom of your grave. In the deep dark hills of eastern Kentucky, that's the place where I trace my bloodline. It was there I read on a hillside gravestone, you'll never leave Harlem alive. Want to come up, Kristyn? Known Kristyn for about a year. What a phenomenal player. You guys are going to get to hear her later on. Boy, she is really great. Right there. This is a tune here. Wrote a little while back, a few months. And I forgot how to write things down. It's in the key of G. All right. Well, I left my home in Idaho, went down from Texas way, and I fell in love with Lone Star State beside the sea. Them Lone Star friends are great, and they'll treat you just fine. Yeah, there's nothing fine as that. They'll steal my wine. So way back to Texas, that's the living town. Dipping tunes and smiling, there's nothing on my mind. couple carry ride. Byron, Sally, and Market, they're keeping the band tight. So away back to Texas, gasoline town. Different tunes and smiling, there's nothing on my mind. Texas is the place I really want to be. And Texas is the place it's really fine with me. So now when you're down in Texas, look up on Gary Pride. Byron, Sound, and Market, keeping the band tight. So away back to Texas, that's a little time. Living tunes and smiling, there's nothing on my mind. Can we rob your vocal mic for just a minute? Just play loud, you'll be fine. I'm gonna do a little Dave Stinney tune. We're gonna attempt. So come ride with me. Oh, come ride with me. I'm just Santa Loveless ride away. It's where you want to be. Don't worry, I know the trails, I know the way. I call the Jim a horse, his eyes are really round. He's better care for you, this forward round. Come ride with me. Let's ride away. Come take a chance, show you where the mountains touch the sky. It's a horseback band, we can ride forever if we try. Dream in the distance, it's there for you to chase. Out in the sunlight with the wind in your face. Come ride with me. Oh, let's ride away. Come ride with me. Run the hills and watch the eagles soar. It's where you want to be. Tell me just what you're waiting for. Smell on the leather, the sun on your skin. God is made to begin. The rumble of hope beats much stronger than mine. The dust in your hand, the light in your eyes. Come ride with me. Run the hills and watch the eagles soar. It's where you want to be. Tell me just what you're waiting for. Good pen in the middle, in love and by the way. Inside of love again, when the dawn's turning gray. Come ride with me. Oh, Let's make a big welcome for Kristyn Harris.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun. I like anybody who sings about Texas. Well, I grew up on Bob Wills and daydreams. My toes were tapping to western swing. I wished upon a star on a tree in my backyard, chasing rainbows to the place where bluebirds sing. I learned to play guitar like a cowgirl, and you're the wife that never had a night. Thank heavens for the girls who wear a hat above their curls and sing a song to make a cowboy cry. Thank heavens for Del Evans, she's everything I ever want to be. Del Evans made a cowgirl out of me. I've got me a Mustang and a cow dog, and they kind of like to listen to me sing. I remember Daddy said, ain't nothing that's so bad that won't get better if you pick and grin. I never got the limo or the diamonds, but I've got my hat, my boots, and my guitar, and I'm mighty proud to say I'll always be this way, like the girl who went and stole Roy Rogers' heart. Thank heavens for Del Evans, yeah, she's everything I ever want to be. Del Evans made a cowgirl out of me. Del Evans made a cowgirl, thank God she made a cowgirl. Del Evans made a cowgirl out of me. I did that song at a show one time, and someone afterward came up and said, I hate Dale Evans. And I was like, oh, why is that? She said, she stole my boyfriend. Well, this next song is about from the 1940s, and I kind of think that sometimes songs are like guitars. The older they are, the better they are. So, when shadows come stealing and you get to feeling crazy as a loon, well, that's just the moonlight in your eyes. Roll on, Texas moon. When dawn is gently breaking and the coyotes are making with its mournful tune. That's just the way he has of saying, roll on, Texas moon. It's the only time the owl gives a hoot through the day. He hasn't the knack. Then a star on high up and winks his eye, and a bold little heifer winks back. It's like a slice of heaven, starting long about 7, ending much too soon. Oh, you better hasten, time is wasting. Roll on, Texas moon. It's the only time the wolf ventures out. He's about to try his luck, while a bird above softly sings of love, and a sweet little dove saying, hi, buck, it's like a slice of heaven, starting long about 7, ending much too soon. Oh, you better hasten, time is wasting. Roll on, Texas moon. Roll on, Texas moon. Roll on, Texas moon. songs that never gets old. Well, it is old, but you never get tired of it. I'm a Roman cowgirl, far away from home, far from the prairie where I used to roam, where the donkeys wander and the wind blows free. Oh, my heart lies yonder on the lone prairie. Oh, carry me back to the lone prairie, where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me beneath the western sky on the lone prairie. Give me back my saddle, give me back my gun, give me back my bronco that I used to run. Let me spread my blanket by a peaceful stream. Hear the cowboys singing by the campfire's gleam. Oh, carry me back to the lone prairie, where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me beneath the western sky on the lone prairie. And when I die, you can bury me beneath the western sky on the lone prairie. Oh, carry me back. Have time for a couple more? One more? I don't know who's keeping time here. 5 minutes. Well, maybe I ought to just... My last song, I want to bring up Brigid and Colt. And we haven't really rehearsed this, but I just thought it would be fun if we can all jam on this song. So this is a Western swing song. Yep, go for it. You ready?
Sure.
Or are you gonna keep
And when
it
she
up?
says that we haven't really rehearsed this much, she means at all. Just for the knowledge of everyone. Ready?
Howdy, folks. I want to welcome you here to the 6th annual Lost in Lava Cowboy Gathering. I'm Coyote Joe, and this is Little Joe McCutcheon. We will be your hosts tonight. And before we get started, we're going to do a little color guard coming up. And I'd like to remind you all right now, turn off your phone or just turn it down, mute it, whatever it takes. There's nothing worse than a ringer going off while someone else is trying to do the ringing up here. So, what I want to say, we did that. Claudia really, she trusts me a lot. She says, here's a list, I want you to follow it, kind of. Just teasing. Just teasing. We have a wonderful show tonight. Some of the best acts that, I'm not going to say money can buy, but I'm going to tell you what. You aren't going to get the entertainment that you're going to get tonight or tomorrow night. Remember, we got 2 shows. So, I'm just kind of preparing you right now while Joe's getting set up here. And Kristyn tonight is going to give us, lead us in the national anthem. We're going to present colors, and then I'm going to introduce the first act. How do I look? I look clean? Look at there. We almost match, don't you know?
And we're not twins, thank you.
No.
We're not brothers either.
There's rumor going
Not
around.
sisters either.
There's rumor going around. The 2 brothers, Joe, ain't gonna cut it. He comes from the Yakima tribe. I come from the Navajo. Okay?
No, I won't say.
Okay. So,
Whoops, what happened?
what happened? Well, looks like you tripped your zipper there. Oh, there you go. Another sound man. Don't tell
I
me.
almost blew a moccasin, went in the ditch.
You don't want to see that, folks. Are you okay on your outfit, Sam?
Yes.
Okay. How do you...
Look at that crowd, man. I tell you what, that's a good crowd,
It's
isn't
a
it?
nice looking crowd. We've had a good crowd all day today.
Yes.
For all the shows. We really appreciate that. The entertainers appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
We're going to have 3 acts before intermission. We're going to take a little short intermission. Then we're going to take some information during intermission. And
What happened to that English class that you...
it isn't that class I was taking. All right, without further ado, the color guard, I can see them out the door. They are ready. I would like to ask you to stand, take off your hats. Sorry if I'm going to blind a few out there, but that's just how it is these days. Oh, I see you're in the same bucket. Oh, there's another one. Yeah. I don't feel alone anymore, Joe. Present colors. If you'll join me right now in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd be more proud. I pledge allegiance to our flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Miss Kristyn Harrison would like to sing this song right now.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Appreciate that. All right.
Oh, yes. Hey, how many are veterans out there today? Got quite a few veterans. Raise your hands. All right. God bless you all. Yes. Well, Joe,
Yep.
we're all ready, are we?
Yeah, just about didn't make it here either.
I'm getting excited already. Yes.
We went over to the house. We had a plan to go over to the house and change our clothes and rest a little bit before we came back. Well, that was about 5 o'clock. Well, Claudia had this stuff in this little quart jar. And she says, "Have you tasted this yet?" And I said, "No." So, yeah,
She insisted.
I did drink some of it. And I didn't think I'd drink that much of it. And I told Joe, I gotta go lay down.
Lay down.
Yeah, I was passed out. He comes down the stairs and say, "Joe, it's 6:25. No, it ain't. My alarm didn't go off. I forgot I turned the alarm off. And the sound and the vibrator and everything else. There was nothing that was going to wake me up except him. So we made it here I think we did okay.
Oh, we did perfect.
Yeah, if we'd had to drive down to Gooding, we'd been late. All right, folks. Without any more here, I'm going to read some particulars about some of these entertainers that's going to be coming up, and that ain't them.
Oh, you
That's that's the grocery list. Okay, that
That's
ain't
Dear
it.
John.
Huh?
That was Dear John, right?
No, that was the other page. Oh, here we are.
Oh, that's the estate sale.
For sale. One. Okay. Now listen close. Now, if you don't believe me, you can read this right in the program, okay? But I'd like to let you know a few particulars about this group that calls themselves Many Strings. If you've been around here all day today, or in and out, and you got to hear them, you know you're going to be pleased here very shortly. They come down from Salem, Utah, better known as Tony and Carol Messerly. Yeah, I don't do good on names. I first heard them, when I heard them the first time, it was over at Rupert. They're at the infamous Wilson Hotel. Well, or the theater there. And that was a couple years ago, and I was very much impressed with these two. And when Claudia asked me for some new acts to to come here and perform for you. They were the first ones I thought about, and I gave her some names, and we're just lucky that these folks said yes. But they got away with music and song and words. In 2012, they were nominated for the AWA, which is the Academy of Western Artists, for Western Duo of the Year, and again in 2013 by the WMA, which is the Western Music Association. Tony did capture the title of Male Yodeler of the Year in 2013. Come on up, folks, and get set up. But put your hands together and make a big welcome. A big Boston Latin welcome to Carol and Tony. Many strings.
It's easier to say many strings than Messerly, huh?
I'd rather say
Wow, that was a nice introduction. That makes me nervous now. Claudia, you got any more of that?
Yeah.
That would not be a good idea.
One, two, three.
It's great big cowboy howdy from our outfit to yours. We hope this season finds you doing swell. There's biscuits in the oven, hot coffee on the stove. So come on by and visit for a spell. There's a fire kindly burning in that old pot-bellied stove. Outside there's at least 3 foot of snow. The cows are all a-bunching down yonder in the trees, and Mercury says 23 below. It's a great big cowboy howdy from our outfit to yours. We hope this season finds you doing swell. There's biscuits in the oven, hot coffee on the stove. So come on by and visit for a spell. Yeah. Well, the tractor won't turn over, the pickup's buried in the snow. I guess it doesn't matter, 'cause we got no place to go. Well, it's a great big cowboy howdy from our outfit to yours. We hope this season finds you doing swell. There's biscuits in the oven, hot coffee on the stove. So come on by and visit for a spell. So come on by and visit for a spell.
Well, thank you so much. We had a request to do this song tonight.
That's right, we did. This is an outlaw song. There's actually a couple of outlaws in this song, and I just want you to listen and notice who you think the best outlaw is.
train. I shot the sheriff, I whooped the deputy, I took the money, I drank the bottle, I ate the worm. Now I'm just laying in this cell, sick of powder, cold of fuse, and I blow this place to Saskatoon, 'cause I robbed the milk train, I shot the sheriff, I whooped the deputy, I took the money, I drank the bottle, I ate the worm.
Now in this story we have ourselves a female accomplice. She's just a little bit smarter than our outlaw. You could say she has ulterior motives. I got the outlaw, I made him trust me. I stole his heart away, I took the money, I told the sheriff, now he's in jail. I got a suitcase full of money, you say I'm living well. I sent a thank you postcard to that Sandy County jail. I robbed the milk train, I shot the sheriff, I whooped the deputy, I took the money, I drank the bottle, I ate the worm.
Now I'm just laying in this cell,
I sent a thank you postcard to that Sandy County jail. I robbed the milk train, I shot the sheriff, I whooped the deputy, I took the money, I drank the bottle, I ate the worm.
one more time.
I robbed the milk train, I shot the sheriff, I whooped the deputy, I took the money, I drank the bottle, I ate the worm.
Well, somebody wanted to hear some yodeling tonight. Yeah? So we're going to do a Christmas song.
With some yodeling in it.
Our Christmas CD is not really what you might consider Christmas anyways, folks. I mean, colonoscopy is one of the songs on our Christmas CD.
Yeah, as a gift.
I'm gonna teach you all to do the eggnog yodel. It really is quite simple, you will see. All you got to do is get yourself a jug of eggnog and grab that jug of rum beneath the tree. Then you mix unequal parts of rum and eggnog. That's one part of the nog and four of rum. You may find it hard to walk, you might find it hard to talk, you might even end up on your bum. But you can do the eggnog yodel. You'll say, shut up and pour. You can do it from the floor. And that's how you do the eggnog yodel. You're gonna laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh some more. You'll be happier with every little sip. And though you're feeling charming, this don't come without a warning. You may puke, or even worse, throw out a hip. Then you're gonna get that warm and fuzzy feeling. Then you're gonna shout, I wanna dance. You may smell a slight aroma as you slip into a coma. You'll find out it's because you pooped your pants. But still you'll do the eggnog yodel. It's fun with all your clothes on. You'll drink it down and say, I've got to yodel. And that's how you do the eggnog yodel. I need a And that's how you do the eggnog yodel. Takes a lot out of a man. I got cotton mouth.
Well, this next song is one that Tony wrote about an area where Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming meets, kind of at that corner. There's a little schoolhouse there called the Old Lador School in Browns Park. Tony spent a lot of naughty, bad nights there as a teenager, probably drinking.
Well, a lot of the outlaws back in the day used to frequent the place. And so, you know, when you're in outlaw country, you got to be an outlaw, right?
So Tony wrote this song about Saturday night, and it's called Browns Park Rat.
Is that the same key? Okay, here we go. 2, 3. I'm doing the wrong song, folks.
I was just waiting for him to notice.
The look on her face told me that I was doing the wrong song. All right, one more time. It's Saturday night at Browns Park, and this cowboy's feeling fine. Come sundown, I'll be howling at the moon. Buckaroo gals, silver waffles, this cowboy's cutting the rug. Gonna dance all night to a ragtime cowboy tune. I've been pushing cows dawn till dusk and bringing home them strays all day in the saddle. Now this cowboy's here to play, and it's Saturday night at Browns Park, and this cowboy's feeling fine. Come sundown, I'll be howling at the moon. Buckaroo gals, silver buckles, this cowboy's cutting the rug. Gonna dance all night to a ragtime cowboy tune. Woo! Well, them Colorado cowboys are outside sipping rye, while Ranger jeans and ponytails make this cowboy smile. And it's Saturday night at Browns Park, and this cowboy's feeling fine. Come sundown, I'll be howling at the moon. Buckaroo gals, silver buckles, this cowboy's got the right. Gonna dance all night to a ragtime cowboy tune. Hey, hey, ragtime cowboy tune. Yodeloo, yodeloo. Hey, hey, ragtime cowboy tune. How we doing on time?
Go one more.
Got time for one more? Well, you want to hear a rodeo song, or do you want to hear something kind of fun? Funny. Yes?
How about both?
How about both? Okay. That was not my vote, but I always am sure he wrote this song about a chubby lady about me.
No, it wasn't you.
Yeah, he always says that too.
One. I'm gonna saddle up that mule, Lord, I think I've lost my mind. Head on back to Bitter Creek, and I hope that I can find that big old gal I left back there with crooked teeth, silver hair, but I love that mountain gal I left behind. It felt so bad the day I left, it hurt to hear her beg. I knew she'd never catch up to me with that wooden leg. Oh, but now I'm feeling lonesome, and I miss them bloodshot eyes. Oh, but she's attractive for a woman of her size. She's been known to lose her temper, she's got an attitude. She's downright irresistible in a romantic interlude. 36, 24, 36, that's one of her thighs. Oh, but she's attractive for a woman of that size. Yeah. And I know that she's sincere. She wraps her arms around me and I dang near disappear. She made the cover of Hereford magazine. I couldn't believe my eyes. Oh, but she's attractive for a woman of her size. Lord, she's sexy for a woman of her size. Thank you folks so much. We appreciate it. Thanks for having us
here. Testing two. Yeah, here we go. One more time for Many Strings. Tony and Carol. Now you folks have got a day show tomorrow, right? At 2 o'clock, come on back over here and you can hear some more of their... Oh, well, are we Eastern time? We're going to go for Pacific time. Let me inform you here real quick. Yeah, it's tomorrow. So much for my paperwork, I lost it. Hey, look at this, I got a podium. We're going to burn up about 2 minutes here while our sound man's doing his thing. Oh, thank you. It's upside down. Ah, darn, the words disappeared. What it... Oh, yeah. Cool. I didn't know we had paper like this here. I know this podium's good for something. Let's see.
Make yourself right at home there.
I will. How do you like it so far, folks? All right. You know, this wouldn't even be halfway possible if it wasn't for some of our sponsors. And I'm going to tell you about 3 of them right now. I'm just going to name them because I don't live here. You folks do, and you know who they are. A lot of you probably even work for some of them. Now, he told me there's only 3 in his company. And and that guy that has that one place out there, they're not sure if he has a helper or not. But the Four Brothers Dairy, we'd like to thank them personally. That means thank you very much for your sponsorships. Now, I've stolen some of this cheese. I've taken it back to Oregon. And the people back there stole it from me. They said that was pretty good cheese. This Glanbia. Does that mean it comes from a gland? No, I'm just not going to make fun of that anymore.
Whoa, there.
Yeah. So Glanbia, I'd like to thank you folks personally too. Yeah. And then that other one. It looks like numbers, but it ain't. What?
Well, they're right over there.
Here, I got my glasses. Oh, wow, this is cool. Now I can read. KMVT. Television, is that them? Is that, where's that? There he is. Okay, KMVT, we'd like to thank them big time. Now, if it weren't for these sponsors, you wouldn't have this grade of entertainment coming up here, or in the Shoshone to do this. And it's been going on for 6 years. This is our 6th year. And I'm proud to say that I'm happier than all get out when I get to come here. Little Joe's missed a couple.
Yeah, I had to do the Pendleton Roundup Cowboy Breakfast down there in Pendleton, Oregon. It's a big deal. I've been down there for about 10, 12 years, doing a great job down there.
They fired him.
And, hey, this is my story. You know, I'm building myself up good, you know. Oh, well. Anyhow, I got kicked to the curb.
Yeah, he did. I told him a few months ago, you better check and see if you still got a job come Roundup. He says, oh, we got it. We've been there 10, 12 years. We got it.
Promised to us, you know.
Yeah. So he comes up to me about 3, 4 weeks ago is all. He says, I got some bad news for you, Joe. He says, what's that?
I'm coming.
I says, I guess I better call Claudia and tell her she's going to have another house guest. She screamed. We almost got a teepee out front.
I was happier than a lark on that one there.
Yeah. Well,
now I got a closet.
Yeah, well, at least you got your privacy.
Well, it doesn't have a door. Doesn't even have a curtain.
No comment. What else we got to talk about?
Hey, the great food that we had today.
You know, inside your program there, you can look at it, and I hope you do. I hope you take time and read a little bit in there about all the sponsors that are in there. They're listed, all the sponsors. And I remember last year Tony was up here and he read every one of them. And then we came up, performed, and said goodnight.
And he was a show off.
Yeah, he was. So anyhow, where are we at now? Oh, you're good now?
All right.
Okay. Whoa! All you guys are coming up here? Oh, I'm sorry. And lady? Come on up. Come on up.
Let's give a big hand.
This is a local group. They're right from here in Shoshone. Johnny, you, and Karla. And they have kind of an interesting past. They've only been married about 3 years, but we're not going to hold that against them. But their futures kind of got mixed up when they stopped doing what they were doing, and they kind of got together. And well, let's put it like this. He went from being a teacher to a kind of like a professional rodeo cowboy to a singer from Nashville and a songwriter. Karla, she just went gallivanting around the country. She was over there in North Carolina going to school, and then she come back here for some reason.
Looking for a cowboy.
North Carolina's got them, but you really got to dig deep.
North Carolina does not have cowboys. I'm sorry.
Okay. I stand corrected. I've been there. I was a cowboy at the time.
You're thinking of Mama's voice, huh?
Oh, that's what Now, between the two of them, they spend most of their time now running a non-profit organization called the Idaho Horse Therapy Reboot Camp, right? And we'd like to thank them as well, to your sponsors as well, for coming out, doing that for us, and then taking the time to come up here to perform for us. So what I'd like to do, without further ado, I'd like you to make a big welcome to Johnny, you, and Karla.
Cowboy phrase had to do today. He couldn't sell his trailer for $1,000. Got $1 million horse and nickel dime luck. That's a cowboy living. That's a cowboy way. Couldn't be a lawyer, been a millionaire around it. The clouds as a pilot in the air. Working 8 to 5 with the pension plan. Answer to the boss, the hired. Cowboy don't understand it, he can't explain why the rodeo life was running through his veins. You see, his daddy made a living the cowboy way. Could have been a lawyer, been a millionaire, rounding up the clouds as a pilot in the air, working 8 to 5 on the bench and playing answer to the boss, just a hired hand. And there's no guarantees, just day to day. But his daddy made a living the cowboy way. Oh, much. Much grass in here. Just a hired hand. There's no guarantees, just day to day. But he's gonna make a living the cowboy way. Cowboy way. Thank you. Can I get a little more of me in this one? I hear that at home. So, we picked up bass player Bill. Is it really Bill Strum?
Yeah, it is.
That's what your born name was?
Destined to be a musician.
Honestly, that's what you call a real musician. Come up here and these original songs I know he's never heard. So appreciate that. Thanks, Karla. It's kind of alright, got all our sounds. Alright, here's another tune we had on an album some years ago. I met him down in Abilene in the summer of '91. He said, I'm old as a rodeo, I guess it keeps me young. Then he talked about another time when the cowboys worked his land. He said, I'll stay in the saddle till the very end. He keeps on riding, he's death-defying, he'll never die, that's what he believes. His shadows falling, there's a cold wind calling, he's the last of a dying breed. All the old cowboys came, it was just like they knew. It was down there in Dallas, it was the fall of '92. The road to Bronx got tangled up and they finally cut him free. And as he died, a damn crowd came to his feet. He keeps on riding, he's death-defying, he'll never die, that's what they believe. His shadow's falling, there's a cold wind calling, he's the last of the dying breed. Southern sky, can hear the roar of a crowd at a rodeo, where he rides that bronc forever, but the whistle never blows. He keeps on riding, he's death-defying, he'll never die, that's what I believe. His shadow's falling, there's a cold wind calling,
and we'll do that. Be even.
She wasn't a cowboy, but she looked great in a cowboy hat. Go out walking after midnight, out in the moonlight, just like we used to do. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. How miles along the highway? Well, that's just my way of saying I love you. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. I stopped to see a weeping willow crying on his pillow. Maybe he's crying for me. And as the skies turn gloomy, that night wind whispers to me, and I'm lonesome as I can be. How I'm walking after midnight, out in the starlight, 'cause I'm just hoping that you'll be somewhere out. Walking after midnight, searching for me. I stopped to see a weeping willow, 'cause he's crying on his pillow. Maybe he's crying for me. And as the skies turn gloomy, that night wind whispers to me, and I'm lonesome as I can be. How I'm walking after midnight, out in the starlight, 'cause I'm just hoping that you'll be somewhere out. Walking after midnight, searching for me.
Once you go out and walking song, what do you think? Bunch of grass? Let's keep walking here.
This is walking the floor over you. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep away, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. You left me and you went away. You swore that you'd be back in just one day. You broke your promise and left me here alone. Don't know why you did there, but I do know that you're gone. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep awake, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. Ah, Butterball.
That's bunch grass right there. Thank you.
Darling, I know I love you well. Love you more than I could ever tell. I told you that you loved me and always would be mine. But you went and left me, dear, with troubles on my mind. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep awake, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. Darling, I know I love you well. Love you more than I could ever tell. Promise that you love me and you always would be mine. But you went and left me there with troubles on my mind. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep away, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as heartbreak tried to walk in the floor over you.
Any fans of Dean Martin and Ricky Nelson? You ever see? We're gonna learn it real fast too. Just hang on here.
The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The red-wing settles in her nest. It's time for a cowboy to dream. Purple eye in the canyon, that's where I long to be, with my 3 good companions, my rifle, pony, and me. Gonna hang my sombrero on the limb of a tree. Coming home, sweetheart, darling, my rifle, pony, and me. Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody right into Amarillo. My rifle, pony, and me. No more cows to be roping. No more strays do I see coming home, sweetheart, darling. Just my rifle, pony, and me. Yeah, my rifle, my pony, and me.
Take you down to Texas just for a while. We'll bring you back to Idaho. What do you think, guys?
1, 2, 1, 2.
I was born in Louisiana, down on that old bayou. I was raised with shrimp and catfish, Mammy's good gumbo. I got that red fever, said goodbye to Baltimore. I crossed that old Red River, this is what I saw. I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the skies. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live there till I die. Cowtown, cradle of the West. Just ask any cowboy, he'll tell you it's the best. I met this Texas cutie, got friendly with her pa. I looked into her green eyes, this is what I saw. I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the sky. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live there till I die. One more time. taming broncos, I made every rodeo, until I met that bad one by the name of Coyote Joe. I held on to the ride, run around that bad outlaw. He threw me from the saddle, this is what I saw. I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the skies. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live there till I die. I'm gonna live there till I die. How much time do we have?
You got time for another one?
One more? Well, I gotta send this out to all the ladies that, from all the cowboys. I about that wrote the song a few years ago. It was called Cowboy Perfect. Guys, what do you think? Second heat is helpless. Let's go off the gate. Leaves his spears behind him on 2,000 pounds of hate. A raging bull, hooves and horns, spinning him around. He stays in the middle, refusing to go down. He knows he's won the buckle. Moment he lets go, then he turns to find his baby waving from the second row. Crowd just keeps on rolling for his 8-second ride. His mind's on a 10 to be loving him tonight. She's cowboy perfect, heaven alone, gentle and wild. She's cowboy perfect, she makes every ride worthwhile. From the grandstands in another dusty town, screams his name and says a prayer, sees him hit the ground. To her he's still a hero, she's thankful he's alive. He didn't make his 8, but she still is 10 tonight. She's cowboy perfect, heaven alone, gentle and wild. She's cowboy perfect, she makes every ride worthwhile. She makes every ride worthwhile. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. What do you think of that? Johnny and Karla. Good job. And company. I better not forget. I don't know your guitar player's name, but I know Bill down here. That's who? Oh, Bunchgrass. I thought you were kidding me. You betcha. Anytime. We'll catch you next year too, okay? Oh, Bill, how you doing? Regular train up here. I haven't waited that long down here at the crossing. Oh, Papa Mac, hand me that stand, would you please? I appreciate that. I'm not going to hold this thing all night. Ha ha. Karla's gonna. Let's see. That almost works, except. Oh, I was going to talk in that mic that ain't there. You know what? Yeah, we don't want to go there. I guarantee you I'm going to drink some more of that stuff tonight. Woo! Claudia says, no, you're not. Not until we get over to the antique store for our jam session tonight, and folks are welcome to come on over for a little bit of food and music. We do this every year, and it's fun. That's what they tell me. I don't remember. Oh, I'm gonna hand this to, oh, getting back to our program here. She said she wanted me to be a little more serious. Well, here I'm just serious. No, I want to tell you a little bit about this little fella that's going to come up here. If you've been around here all day listening to him and other people, you would agree with me that he's a very talented man. He's a big man, and he wears several hats. First, he's a cowboy poet. He is a preacher and a storyteller. The member of the Alberta Cowboy Poetry Association and the WMA. Coming south all the way from Manitoba, Canada, you can find him on horseback out in a pasture or down in some old rodeo ground preaching the Word of God. Known to many on stage and in the theaters, his real name is Jeff. And it ain't how you spell it. You can look at it too in the program if it's not, it's Goff or something like that, you know. But anyway, he told me, and I'm not going to argue with the little feller. Not me. He wrestles bulls for breakfast, you know, and then he throws them out. But help me, come on up, Papa Mac. Help me make a great big welcome to the first time to our stage here at the Lost and Lava Cowboy Gathering. I almost forgot where we were at again. I need some more of that stuff. So put your hands together. Poppa Mac.
Thank you. I guess you did get sick of me in the afternoon, so I'd just like to thank everybody for having me here. I've had such a good time since I've been here. And Coyote, it is Jeff, or some people say gee off, like gee off my back. That's the way I spell my name. So I got here, I did drive from Manitoba. Well, I drove my truck to Fargo, North Dakota. I decided I wanted to stay there. So my truck is in the shop in Fargo, North Dakota. So I ended up renting a car and driving here. 16-hour drive. I slept for about 4 hours in Yellowstone Park, just on the side of the road. But that's what they call it. That's what I told my wife anyhow. He said, please don't drive all the way through. I said, honey, I won't. I'll stop. And so I stopped. I had to check the windows or something. So I got in yesterday. And when I got in, I went over to the Manhattan Cafe. I walk in there and I see this group of older fellas. They're talking about their friend Bob. They seem to be really concerned about him. You know, I'm being a poet and storyteller. Of course, I wasn't trying to listen on their conversation or anything, but I heard it. It seems Bob forgot he and his wife Alma's anniversary. So he was in the doghouse. His wife Alma said to him, Bob, you know my birthday's coming up soon, and if you forget that, and Bob goes, okay, honey, what is it that you want for your birthday? And she looked at him and says, well, I want something shiny and new that goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Bob goes, got it. So the day of her birth, she comes running down the stairs in her nightgown and her house coat just playing in the back, and she whips open the curtains of the front living room, and there in the driveway is a beautifully wrapped box. And she's so excited, she runs out the door, she loses a slipper on the way to the driveway. She just takes that box, instead of unwrapping it, she just rips it wide open, and she looks inside it, and there's a scale. Bob hasn't been seen or heard from since. Don't be a Bob. Well, my wife and I are still in what we call, I guess, the honeymoon phase. I'm hoping the honeymoon phase lasts about 25 to 30 years. And I hope that eventually, that time, I won't remember that we've been married that long, and there'll be a honeymoon phase after that. How many people here are in love with their significant others? Come on, guys, you better put up your hands, man. How many people are here with the one they love? The same people better put their hands up. Anyway, this first poem I'm going to share with you is called Love Story. First time he saw her, he knew that it was right. You could say it was love at first sight. Ah, he could stare at her for hours, sure that he was in heaven, and he just knew she was a perfect size 7. Well, there she was Monday, looking just as sweet. Well, he had to muster up the courage, because he knew soon they would meet. Ah, her skin gleamed in the midday sun. Well, he sucked it a lot, because he knew she would be the one. Just being in her presence left him a bundle of nerves. He stood there breathless, in awe of her curves. See, and I forget this poem every other time. I blamed it earlier on my brain damage that I have, but I can't keep on doing that. He stood there breathless, in awe of her curves. His hands trembled at their first touch. It was everything he had dreamt about, perhaps too much. He went slowly, almost afraid to take chances, but soon she surrendered under his subtle advances. We had to have her right then and there, as he knew this wasn't going to be a one-night affair. Well, it's been 20 years since that first meeting. You can say that's a love that isn't fleeting. Well, no one's surprised that they're still together, because he knew she would be his forever. Well, theirs is a love story unlike most, and no question about it, this is his repost. Well, I fell in love first time I met her, and I don't care if you concur. Well, he loves her, there's no doubt about that, because what cowboy forgets his first hat? Well, my wife says I have a hat problem. I have 28 of them or 29 of them. But then anytime she says that, I refer to her to my friend Lynn, who has over 50, or my friend Johnny in Fort Worth, who has over 100. And then she looks at me and says, yeah, but I don't have to live with either one of them, and I don't have to clean up above. And I said, I don't have a hat problem. I'm not addicted to hats. I can stop buying hats anytime I want. I just don't want to. So this poem was inspired by that. I knew I was going to have to explain this new hat to my wife, but she just didn't understand. I've been collecting them my entire life. I crept in the back door with it tucked safely in its box. I was creeping around my own house like a quick little fox. Just one more corner and I have it tucked safely in its room when she appeared out of nowhere, brandishing a broom. Aw, man, I was caught red-handed right then and there. And she just looked at me and says, honey, just how many Stetsons do you think you can wear? Well, I told her it wasn't a Stetson, it was genuine Charlie One Horse. A genuine who? A Charlie what? That's what makes this hat special, of course. Well, I knew you wouldn't understand. I muttered under my breath, and she gave me a look like she was planning my untimely death. I tried to tell her each hat was different, no two were the same, but I don't think she was buying into my game. So she said, oh really, with disbelief in her voice, then why was it just last week you told me Resistol was your hat of choice? Well, come on, honey, best I could say it was a draw. That hat last week was a felt, this here hat's a straw. But what about that Bailey you bought a couple weeks past? Didn't you promise me that would be your last? I said it, and it was true, because why would I buy another Bailey and then I'd have two? And you know the one before that, that Wrangler black? Yep, that was the one she told me to take back. And with a side glance, she found it hanging right there on its hook, and she shot me another early death look. And I was thinking, oh man, just isn't my day, because hanging right beside that Wrangler was a brand new MHT grade. Well, she saw it too and says, where the heck that one come from? And don't you try to tell me it was another gift from your mom. That's it, she exclaimed. This Charlie Who horse is the absolute last. If you bring another hat in this house, you'll be surprised just how quickly your life has passed. Well, also, I've been warned, if I buy another hat, my life will be worth nada. And this is coming from the woman who owns 50 pairs of Prada. Thank you very much. So I am from Canada, but I do travel around a lot. I seem to travel mostly in the States lately. And I was down south, and I decided I was going to go fishing. Before I went fishing, all of a sudden I look at this conservation officer just come up to this fella. was about to question him because right beside him was this big pail full of live fish. So the conservation officers walked up and said, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a license for all those fish?" The fellow looked at him and says, "A license? I don't need a license. Those are my fish." He goes, "Yeah, but you just caught them here. You need a license." He says, No, you don't understand. They're my fish. I keep them at home. We come out here to this lake every week. I put them in the lake for exercise. When I whistle, they come back and I take them home. Conservation officer says, "Yeah, sure, yeah, I got to see this." He says, "Okay, we'll see this." So the guy took the bucket of fish, he put them into the lake, and they were swimming around. The conservation officer says, "Okay, I'll call them back." They call what back? Call back the fish. The guy goes, "What fish?" So as I stand in front of you, this is about as dressed up as I get. I wore jeans at my wedding. Yeah, I did. My wife wasn't too happy about it, but she married me anyhow, so she must really love me. But anyhow, we got one thing happened that we got in kind of a, I would say an argument, but I don't want to say an argument. We got into a discussion, and that's called formal attire. Well, there's a wave of excitement sweeping the farm, and who would have thought a letter could cause such an alarm? Well, it's an invitation to the wedding of my nephew Jed, and formal attire required is what it said. Well, my wife figured we need new outfits for such a fancy event, but I'm sure it was really my wardrobe she tried to reinvent. Well, I thought I would just wear my boots, jeans, jacket, and hat. Well, I could cover the stain on my shirt if I dressed like that. Well, the weekend comes and we head into the city. First stop was the mall to find the wife something pretty. Well, she found a dress and a pair of shoes that went together. And next on the list was something for me, and nothing in denim or leather. Well, on the way to the men's store, we passed right past the tack shop. And no matter how much I pleaded and begged, she wouldn't let me stop. Well, when we got to the store, I stumbled and I waited at the door. Well, you know what? That salesman completely ignored me, and that's the wife that we were looking for. Well, she had decided I needed a suit and a tie. Well, just dressing like that, man, I just wanted to curl up and cry. Well, the suit they picked out was green with a shirt of gray. I really couldn't see myself dressing that way. But I got lucky as nothing seemed to fit as it should. You know, the pants and shirt weren't bad, but the jackets were no good. So we left the city with nothing for me to wear. Sorry. We left the city without for nothing to buy, and I'll tell you, I was a pretty happy guy. I figured she'd agree and let me wear what I had planned, but I put no to that idea was her final command. Well, it was the day before the event, and still I had nothing to wear. The wife threatened if I didn't get something, she'd go alone to this here affair. Well, the morning of the wedding, I left early to give the truck a fill and a wash. I went to the local Walmart to see if I could find myself with something with a little panache. Well, I found some pants, a shirt, and even a snazzy tie. When I put them all together, I thought, I'm a pretty good-looking guy. Well, I surprised my wife with my new clothes, and she thought I was pretty, right down to my toes. But on my feet, I wore my old boots, so I didn't buy those fancy shoes. Well, we were impressive dressed to the nines. We looked like the Kelvins, or maybe the Kleins. Well, I wasn't too comfortable, but the wife seemed to be enjoying it. So I guess it was all worth it to her. Well, there we were. The bride was all dressed in white. But it was the groom that made the most splash that night. There all his guests were dressed in their formal attire, and he was wearing jeans and boots and a jacket trimmed with barbed wire. Thank you, guys. Well, like I said, I've done a lot of things. My brother and I used to be cattle ranchers. We did day work before that. I was involved with the rodeo for a long time. I even cooked on a wagon for a season. And one thing I found out when you're cooking on the wagon, nobody wants to make the coffee. So they tried to sabotage it. And so we had this one fellow, it was his turn to make the coffee. And he was trying to get everybody, if you complained about the coffee, then it became your job to make the coffee. So we were out riding and we came back for lunch and all. Son, you know what, while he was there, he figured, I'll get these guys. So he poured, like, I don't know, it must have been almost a 10-pound bag of salt in the coffee. So my brother was the first one to have a cup. He just poured himself a big cup, and he drank like half that cup of coffee down, goes, and this guy's just laughing. He goes, good, fight. My brother goes, just the way I like it. That leads me to my next little story, my next little poem. It's called Biscuits, Beans, and Cowboy Coffee. My days are long past of working on the range. My body just couldn't take it no more. I get asked if I miss the life. Well, there are things I miss, that's for sure. I miss biscuits and beans and cowboy coffee. But it's not because they were so good. It's because of all the things you could do with them. So I'm sorry if any of you misunderstood. Cowboy coffee, so thick and strong. It can dissolve the nails on a horse's shoes. It's good for taking rust off spurs, and I'm sure you're in there, it does abuse. Cookie said it was a special blend, and I've seen him hide the grinds. He strains them through his dirty socks. Just see, that blew my mind. And Cookie's biscuits are so hard you can use them as a hammer, they don't even flake. And Cookie's biscuits are so hard, I use them as a nail, they don't even flake. I use them to hammer in nails, and they don't even flake, so I'm sure you could use them to shore up some jails. Well, I'm not saying these biscuits are responsible for more than one chipped tooth, but if you can chew them, they're not half bad. They kind of taste like a mixture of flour and cement. I'll tell you, they're not the worst I've ever had. And what can I say about Cookie's beans? Well, they sure keep you warm at night. They could prove to be lethal if you had to share a tent. But they keep the critters out of the campsite. Well, I guess I really shouldn't complain, because I do like waking up to the smell. I have been known to go back for seconds. Well, there's been no harm yet, but time will tell. Thank you. Now I have a request. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do another little story. I'm going to do a poem for you, and then I'll do this story that I had a request for. And it's my first request, so I got to make sure I do it. Now, the next poem I'm going to share with you is based on a true story, which of course all my poems are. Sure. But this one actually is based on a true story. I met this Australian cowboy at a gathering in BC. And we got to talking, and he told me this story about this bull in Australia. And so I just called it Outback Prince. I heard a tale hard to believe about what a bull did achieve. Seems he was best in the land. Washed daily, pampered and groomed, massaged and even perfumed. His hide was perfect, no brand. Well, his owner made a bet, one that he could regret, the bovine at the core. He had to survive real life in the outback with its strife. Nothing less, nothing more. Well, its handlers had to wean it off, being fed out of a trough. It ate desert plants, brush and twigs. No more baths or massage. It had to learn to live without its entourage. They see how it liked its new digs. The outback was the bull's new home. They dropped it off and let it roam. The bet was it wouldn't last a year. It had to find its own food, and assorted predators elude, including the odd occasional steer. Well, a year had passed, and no one knew if that bovine had made it through. They had all the cattle in to be cut. Well, they brought all the cattle in to be cut. Well, a bull had started walking to where these cowboys were talking. It actually started to strut. Well, that bull was moving fast to where those cowboys were amassed, when the lead hand calmly dismounted. Well, they knew he had guts, but they thought he'd gone nuts as he stood there ready to be counted. Well, that bull kept on coming, and the scene was kind of numbing, like the kind from a bad show. Well, as that bowl started to close, a cloud of dust arose and it ended with them standing toe to toe. But there was an expression of joy between that bull and cowboy. The pampered bovine survived. He looked good and lean, and he hadn't turned mean. Heck, you could say he even thrived. Well, the owner had won the bet. He had become richer yet, and we finally found out the amount. Well, it was hard to understand. He'd only won $5,000 on the best bull ever shown. Thank you. I did this story last night. So if you were around last night, you've heard it. If you weren't, get ready to hold on to your hats. It's a story of two guns. So it starts out, there's an old fella sitting in the Mexican cantina drinking his cerveza. And as he's just drinking his cerveza, somebody runs in and says, "Two guns is coming, two guns is coming, run for your life." Well, the old fella, he just ignores the young guy, and he just keeps on drinking his cerveza. The guy's still screaming, "Two guns is coming, run for your life, run for your life." The old guy's just sitting there. The young guy finally comes up to him and says, "Hey, mister, don't you know who Two Guns is?" The old guy, he looks back, he tips his hat back and says, "You're asking me if I know Two Guns? Let me tell you something." He says, "I'm riding my burro across the desert, minding my own business. And in front of me, I see the cloud of dust, and it's starting to come towards me. And it's Two Guns. And as Two Guns gets towards me, he stops. He looks at me and says, 'Well, I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you, no guns with no guns. Now you have to listen to me.' And I looked at him and I go, 'What?' And he says, 'I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. You're no guns with no guns. You have no guns. So you have to listen to what I say.' Well, what am I supposed to do? He's Two Guns with Two Guns. He's got two guns pointing at me. I'm no guns with no guns. I have no guns. So I have to listen to him. Well, him Two Guns with two guns pointing at me. He says to me, 'Hey, you, no guns with no guns. You get off your horse.' And I go, 'What?' He says, 'Get off your horse. I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. No guns with no guns. You have no guns. You get off your horse.' Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm no guns with no guns. I have no guns. He's Two Guns with Two Guns. You got two guns pointing at me. No guns with no guns. So I get off my horse. Well, him Two Guns with Two Guns pointing his two guns at me. He starts to laugh. He thinks this is funny. He can make me no guns with no guns do what he wants. Then he looks at me and says, 'Hey, you, no guns with no guns. I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. No guns with no guns. Now I want you to take off your pants.' I look at him. I go, 'What?' He goes, 'Don't you get it? I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns. You got no guns. I got two guns pointing at you. You take off your pants.' Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm no guns with no guns. I have no guns. He's Two Guns with Two Guns. He got two guns pointing at me. So I take off my pants. Well, him, Two Guns with Two Guns, pointing his two guns at me. No guns with no guns. He's laughing even harder. Then he looks at me and says, 'I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. No guns with no guns. Now you take off your shirt.' I go, 'What?' He goes, 'Listen, I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. No guns with no guns. You take off your shirt.' Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm no guns with no guns. He's got two guns. I got no guns. I take off my shirt. Well, him Two Guns with Two Guns pointing his two guns at me. No guns with no guns. He thinks that's even funnier. So he's laughing even more. Then he looks at me and says, 'Hey, I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. No guns with no guns. Now you lie down on the ground and you eat the dirt.' And I look at him, 'Hey, I know you're Two Guns with Two Guns. You guys pointing at me. No guns with no guns. But what?' He goes, 'I'm Two Guns with Two Guns. I got two guns pointing at you. You're no guns with no guns. You eat the dirt.' So what am I going to do? He's Two Guns with Two Guns. Got two guns pointing at me. No guns with no guns. So I eat the dirt. Well, while I'm eating the dirt, him Two Guns with Two Guns, he starts to laugh. And as Two Guns with Two Guns pointing two guns at me, he's laughing. He falls off his horse. And wouldn't you know it, him Two Guns with Two Guns pointing two guns at me. No guns with no guns. He drops his guns. Well, me, no guns with no guns. I see his two guns, so I pick up his guns. So now I'm no guns with two guns. He's two guns with no guns. So now I got two guns pointing at him. Are you guys keeping up? So I looked at him and says, 'Now it's my turn to have some fun because I'm no guns with two guns. You're two guns with no guns. I took your guns, so you know I have no more guns. So now I'm pointing your guns back at you. No guns, two guns with no guns.' So I said to him, 'Two guns with no guns. I'm no guns with two guns. I got two guns pointing at you. Now you take off your pants.' And he looks at me. 'What?' And I said, 'Listen, you're Two Guns with no guns. I'm no guns with two guns. I picked up your guns. You dropped your guns. I picked up your guns. Now I'm pointing your guns back at you. You're Two Guns with no guns. I'm no guns with two guns. I'm pointing them at you. You take off your pants.' Well, what's he supposed to do? He's Two Guns with Two Guns. He dropped his two guns. Now he's got two guns with no guns. I picked up his two guns. I'm no guns with two guns. And I'm pointing his two guns back at him. So all he can do is he takes off his pants. Well, now me, no guns with two guns, point two guns at him, two guns with no guns. I think that's pretty funny. Pretty fun. So I look at him and says, 'Okay, two guns with no guns. I'm no guns with two guns. I got my two guns pointing back at you. Now you take off your shirt.' And he looks at me, no guns with two guns pointed, but two guns at him, two guns with no guns. He looks, what? I said, you take off your shirt. I'm no guns with two guns. You got no guns. You two guns with no guns. So I point your two guns back at you, you take off your shirt. Well, what's he supposed to do? He's two guns with no guns. I'm no guns with two guns. I'm pointing his two guns back at him. He takes off his shirt. And I think that is even funnier. And I'm looking at him thinking, oh, what else can I do? Because I'm no guns with two guns. I got two guns pointed at him, two guns with no guns. He got no more guns. I got his guns. I look at him and say, listen, now I'm no guns with two guns. I got two guns pointed at you, two guns with no guns. You got no more guns. I got two guns to shoot. Now you lie down on the ground and you eat the dirt. And he starts to hesitate. And I'm like at hesitation. I'm no guns with two guns. You're two guns with no guns. I got your guns. I'm putting your guns at you. You're two guns with no guns. You can do what I say. So you lay it down and you eat the dirt. So what's he going to do? He's two guns with no guns. I'm no guns with two guns. There's two guns pointed at him. No guns, back to two guns with no guns. So he lies down and he eats the dirt. And I'm laughing and laughing. And then the old guy looks at the young guy and says, and you asked me if I know two guns? Huh? We had lunch. And that's my time. Right.
That's Poppa Mac right there. All the way down here from Manitoba, Canada. Woo! All right, that's going to bring us up to a short intermission, about 15 minutes or so. Please go back to the tables and graze the CDs, the books, things like that. We bring the house lights up so nobody's out there wandering around aimlessly. Ah, look at that. In the meantime, we have a whole second show to go. And all right, folks, we're going to continue with the second half of our show. I would like to make a big thank you right now. And when you could see them down at the your antique mall down here, the antique store, Claudia and Payson Reese,
Thank you, Claudia.
thank them, please. I don't think you really realize how much work the committee for the Lost in Lava goes through to put this together. As little Joe knows, and a few performers here know, I put on these productions myself, and it is no easy project. And just a heartfelt thanks to the committee members, Payson, Claudia, all of the volunteers that helped. And we'd also like to thank Betty Fredrickson down in Gooding for donating all this printing of the programs, and I don't know what all she did, but I'm pretty sure she did more than a boatload. There you go. I knew you had that in. Okay. Joe, what do you got a guitar on for?
Oh, I'm just trying it on. I'll see how it fits.
Is it yours? Is it yours?
Yeah, it is mine now.
How much is he getting paid? Lots, huh? Hundreds.
One elk and 2 deer.
There you go. You know how the tribe works. Okay. Our next musical act, our group that's going to come up here, really doesn't have to have an introduction, but I'm going to do it. If I'm sat here to read off his accolades and awards and things he's gone for and how long he's been doing this, well, I don't know who's cooking breakfast, but we'd be there. He comes to us from Montana, and this is for his second year here. A feller who, when a boy, was influenced with those old-time cowboy songs, as many of us were influenced by, with a career that spans over 60 years. A singer, a songwriter, a musician, and a historian. You can sit down with this feller and he can tell you a story that'll curl your hair. No. That's another feller. Okay. But he has so much history behind him. Please take this moment right now and make a great big welcome to our stage, the Lost in Lava. Welcome to Stan Howe and company. Is this it?
Thank you, Joe. You read that just exactly the way I wrote it.
I know. Give me $20.
I want my buffalo.
Where'd you get that guitar, buddy? Our Salvation Army doesn't have good stuff like that.
Put this over in good hands.
Somehow you turn it.
Bill back here, where's Bill? Who you listening? Bill. Bass player.
Girls, let loose a bill, will ya?
Going to get his bass.
What? Okay.
Now your bass is here. There he is. There he is. Easy.
Well, so much for the theory that we're going to just walk on stage and hit it. That's all right. I'll be able to see it out someday too.
I'm over here now.
That's good. You ready, Bill?
Yeah, give me a break. I'm old, you know.
1, 2, 3. She likes to rodeo, she loves me. Even when I'm broke, she knows I drink and smoke and she don't mind. She always dresses right, she wears her Wrangler's tight. At barrel racing riding, she looks fine. 'Cause she's a real cowboy's girl. And when she puts on a dress, she still looks good, you bet. And the cowboys check her out all the time. She loves to cowboy dance and super cab romance out in the parking lot. Suits her just fine. 'Cause she's a real cowboy's girl. Someday we'll settle down and raise a family. A boy for her, a couple girls for me. I want some other boys someday know the joys. How much fun a real cowboy's girl can be. Louis Maxwell. Little Joe. When I have to put a calf, she shows up with a laugh and says, the romance of this ranch and suits her fine. Sometimes she blows her top and tells me this crap's gonna stop. But when it's all said and done, she's still mine. Someday we'll settle down and raise a family. A boy for her, a couple girls for me. I want some other boys someday know the joys. How much fun a real cowboy's girl can be. She likes to rodeo, she loves me. Even when I'm broke, she knows I drink and smoke and she don't mind. She always dresses right, she wears her Wrangler's tight. At barrel racing riding, she looks fine. 'Cause she's a real cowboy's girl, I'll always love her. A real cowboy's girl, I'll never have another. A real cowboy's girl. A real cowboy's girl, you ought to see her run a swatter. A real cowboy's girl, and cooking and kissing. A real cowboy's girl. Thank you, aren't you nice? Thank you. Could you turn Louie's guitar down a little bit in the monitor? It's a little too loud there.
Thank you.
And maybe bring mine up just a little bit. Take me back along the Yellowstone. Let me see again those hills I used to roam. Let me ride across Montana's eastern prairie. Oh, take me back along the Yellowstone, where the prairie greets the sunrise every morning, where the mountains meet the sunset every night. I want to see a herder with his woolly. Take me back along the Yellowstone once more before I die. Here's little Joe. Take me back along the Yellowstone. Let me see again those hills I used to roam. Let me ride across Montana's eastern prairie. Oh, take me back along the Yellowstone. Louis. I wanna smell the sagebrush blooming in the springtime. Feel the evening breeze as it brings in the rain. See the snow drift across the open prairie. Take me back along the Yellowstone. Let my heart be free again. Take me back along the Yellowstone. Let me see again those hills I used to roam. Let me ride across. Let me ride across Montana's eastern prairie. Oh, take me back. Take me back along the Yellowstone. Oh, take me back along the Yellowstone. That song's been a great blessing to me. I wrote that in 1986, and I'll tell you how the song came to be. I had a wonderful friend named Wild Horse Cunningham, and he was an Eastern Montana legend. He was a horse trader and a gambler and a variety of things, and he was a great cowboy poet and knew all the old-time songs and everything. And we were down on a show in Cody, Wyoming, and he had a stroke. And they took him to the hospital and gave him, fairly good odds of living with rehabilitation and everything. The next morning, he got up and put on his clothes and walked out of the hospital and said, "There's nobody here tough enough to stop me." And he went down to the Irma and he was having coffee. I went in and said, "Wild Horse, how you doing?" He said, "I'm here." I said, "You should still be in the hospital." He said, "No, I'm not dying in Wyoming." He said, "If anything happens to me, promise me you'll take me back down along the Yellowstone to Miles City and plant me there at home." And that's where that song came from. Would you put some treble in Little Joe's guitar? Or in his monitor, rather. You know what I meant. Here's another song that's been pretty good to me. This honky tonk song. I wrote this about the same time. I had a couple creative years there. This tuning out here and tuning back in the green room is really different. Fiddles are really sensitive, they're kind of like good-looking blonde-haired.
They're like women, aren't they? They're real sensitive like women.
Like good-looking blonde.
You don't know anything about women, though.
Here we go.
Last one was 19. What was it? 46? No.
Memories of me, something that's crossed my mind indeed. About me, and if you do, your thoughts would not be kind. I haven't seen you since the night you left me, but memories of you sometimes cross my mind. I sometimes think about how much I hurt you, and I wonder how young love could be so blind. I have a lovely home, a wife and family, but memories of you sometimes cross my mind. If he'd been mine, yeah. Well, I wonder if he ever thinks about me. Do memories of me ever cross your mind? Let's all sing here. I sometimes think about how much I've hurt you, and I wonder how young love could be so blind. I have a lovely home, a wife and family, but memories of you sometimes cross my mind. Let's split with this one, Louie. Your turn. Your little boy has learned to call me daddy. He couldn't have loved me more if he'd been mine. Well, I wonder if he ever thinks about me. Do memories of me ever cross your mind? Well, I sometimes think about how much I hurt you, and I wonder how young love could be so blind. I have a lovely home, a wife and family, but memories of you sometimes cross my mind. One more. So unkind. It's probably for the best we never married, but memories of you sometimes cross my mind. I sometimes think about how much I hurt you. I wonder how young love could be so blind. I have a lovely home, a wife and family, but memories of you sometimes cross my mind. Oh, memories of you sometimes cross my mind. Well, how about these lead guitar guys? Huh? Well, twin lead guitars. Billy and Angell. We just did this afternoon back in the green room, and talking about that, you want to make sure, I think, that you're here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We're going to do something that's different here. We have all these great musicians, and you know, most of us are here showcasing ourselves or our act, but there's so many people that are just so much fun to pick with, and like last night, we had this great jam session, and Colt was there, and Kristyn was there, and Joe was there, and a bunch of other people. You know, we were sitting around the table at Claudia's house, just playing everything from old-time country music to western swing, and some of the talent that's here is just incredible. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'm going to host a jam session, and all these people are going to go through here. You know, some might play the whole hour, some might not, but we're going to try and put everybody together and show you how good some of these people are and what we can do.
We were only there until 1:30 in the morning last night, though. So, we got a few hours sleep, you know.
Hey, Stan?
Yep.
I usually don't make requests,
That's good.
but I...
Move along, we're running out of time.
Oh, okay. But can we do that bird song?
Bird song?
Bird song.
What bird song?
Oh, I know what he's talking about. I think indeed.
That's it.
That one. I'm dreaming mockingbirds are singing over her grave. Oh, listen to the mockingbird. Listen to the mockingbird. The mockingbirds are singing over her grave. Oh, listen to the mockingbird. Listen to the mockingbird. The mockingbirds that sing over her grave. Little Tweety bird, little wren, is about white. And a robin. He's had too many apples to eat or something. Here's a woodpecker. You think any more, Louie?
Oh, yeah, one.
What is it?
Duck!
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Little Joe. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Louie Meister. Thank you.
Oh yeah, there we go. Find the switch.
And thank you, Stan, once again, a fine.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you if you want this.
I'm over here now.
Okay. Okay. There you can put that up. There we go. Yeah, bring that over. You want that there? Okay.
All right. All right. I like that. Kind of made me sound like somebody I know. Me. Back at the ranch.
Engine,
Joe, tell them a short little story about that time when you and
the little Indian.
yeah, me and you were out riding.
Well, anyhow, not you and me, you know, Leroy and Bern were out riding around on the prairie, the nice tall grass, and they were going along. They went about 5 miles, and Leroy looked back and says, Bern, hey, there's an Indian behind us. And Bern says, well, how tall is he? Leroy says, well, he's about that tall. Okay, just don't worry about him. Let's keep going, you know. So they went another 5 miles, and then went back. Leroy looked back and he says, hey, Bern, that Indian's still following us. Bern says, well, how tall is he now? Bern says, well, he's about that tall. Or Leroy said that. So, anyhow, they're going down another 5 miles, and Leroy looks back and says, hey, Bern, that Indian's still there. Vern says, well, how tall is he now? He says, well, he's about that tall. Vern says, well, shoot him. Vern says, I can't. And Vern says, well, why not? Leroy says, well, I've known him since he's that tall. Thank you. Do I get a prize on that one, Joe?
Nope.
No.
Indian humor, you just gotta love it.
You know, I'm the only Indian in a cowboy gathering. I don't know. Figure that one out.
Yeah, but I've been passing them off as a Mexican lately.
Oh, go to your room.
He came up there and he goes, "Hola, senor." And I went, "What?" He goes, "Hola, senor." I said, "What are you trying to say?" He says, "I'm trying to say goodbye." I said, "Okay, let's get this straight one more time. It's bueno and adios." But anyway,
Buenos dias.
that's the one. Our next act coming up here is probably, well, let's just put it like this. He is our youngest poet and second youngest performer at this year's Lost in Lava show. Coming from Bear River, Wyoming. Travels all over the United States performing, and at 12 years old, I think he's already gathering awards, getting nominated for different things.
And girls.
Yeah, he gathers girls like nobody'd know until they find out how old he is. But anyway, and I'm pretty sure in the next few years, he's going to gather more successful awards and a career at this. He's good, he's faithful, and as Tony told me earlier, about several shows back, that's where our generations are coming from. That's where our entertainers are coming from, is these young people coming up here and doing this for us. And without further ado, for his second year here at our show, at Lost in Lava, please make a great big welcome for Thatch Elmer, the Prairie Buckaroo.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you guys tonight. Like he says, I'm a cowboy poet, and I hail from just outside of Evanston, Wyoming, called Bear River, Wyoming, and so I like to do cowboy poetry and travel all around and do that, and so I'm going to share a few cowboy poems with you tonight. This first poem is one that it's brand new, and I finished writing it a couple months ago, and I just finished memorizing it today. So I'd like to share it with you. It's called Buckaroo Boot Camp. How does it start? Welcome to Buckaroo Boot Camp. I'm here to make you a hand. I'm here to teach you a lesson on riding for the brand. Now making a hand ain't easy. You gotta be full of guts. And those of you that aren't should probably be in the truck. First, you better be patient. And you best run quick, 'cause bronky horses and cranky heifers all got a bone to pick. Next, you gotta be tough and strong, like a prize-winning bull. And you best not get queasy when we make some of them a cull. Next, you got to be rough, 'cause when we snub up ponies, it can sometimes be gruesome stuff. Now put your listening sweatbands on, 'cause this one's really good. You better know how to fix a ranch truck and know stuff under the hood. Duct tape and baling twine can fix most anything, but trucks need parts and metal and all them fancy things. So you better know your way back to town, 'cause this truck, it is a doozy. It needs a part for its motor, and that thing makes me woozy. Now boys, we ain't finished. We still got things that need to be done. So load some hay in, hop in, and we'll have some buckaroo fun.
Thank you. You know, I can remember a whole bunch of poems and a whole bunch of words like that, but you know, I just can't remember my set. I can't remember which ones I need to do when. You know, if you know me any, you know that I don't go too far without rope, so this is a poem that Kristyn requested. It's called New Ropes and Skint Noses by Larry McCorder. 'Twas the day after Christmas, and the cowboy's young son, with his new nylon catch rope, put the dogs on a run. A tree was knocked over by his brand new string, and his mom soon regretted him getting that thing. He's a threat to us all, our home's safe no more. If he heals me again, they go out the door. Now, hun, just be patient, he's learning a trade, and not but through practice a good roper's made. Now just look at the way he makes that thing whip, or the cat he just roped at, Mom better lip. All day he kept at it, and he caught all he could, and for just 7 years old, he roped pretty good. His father would watch him all, swollen with pride, but long since his mother had kicked him outside. The black goat and the chickens soon steered from his path, and not even Big Sister was safe from his wrath. The boy learned to throw true like chunking a rock, but soon the dogs bored him. He craved bigger stock. He snuck in the milk pen to stretch his line tight, but that wasn't enough. He sought the new height. Opportunity knocked for just down the road. He saw his paw coming, a green Colt he rode. Well, he shook out a big loop and hid by the truck. He'd double hawk that horse if smiled on by luck. When the horse came in view, he let his loop sail, but the loop went awry up under his tail. Like a vice, that tail clamped and down his head went. He jerked little Junior, whose wee nose got skinned. Well, the trio parted ways and all went elsewhere. The colt to the pasture, while Dad spit there. The boy ran the mother. That colt stole my twine. Tell Daddy to get it. I want it. It's mine. When at last Dad came in, his face was troubled. He held Junior's nylon when Coyote was doubled. Come here, you little scamp, he said, spitting dirt. A skint face peeked at him around Mother's skirt. I'll teach you a lesson about healing a horse. But Mom, to the rescue, diverted his course. Well, why this morning you laughed and thought it was fine, while he tormented us with that awful twine. And I remember you saying, he's learning a trade, and not but through practice are good ropers made. The boy knew no better. If you'd set him straight, you wouldn't have got bucked off and come home irate. Now you think about it, 'twas you egged him on. You've reaped but you've planted, so just leave him alone. Well, that sure shut him down, and before long he grinned. He recoiled his son's rope and says, come here, friend. Now this rope I gave you's a tool, not a toy. But I guess you're no worse than me as a boy. And that heel loop you tossed was just a tad late. So when you throw a rope, throw! You'll miss if you wait. The steer's in the meadow that's running your nose. A few shots you'll be needing today, I suppose. So let's go catch old Chubbs and I'll saddle Elwood and teach you to rope the creatures you should. They stroll across the barnyard, the grown-up cowboy took right there to heal him, the small, skint-nosed boy. Thank you. You know, a couple years ago, my grandpa, he took me to this museum in sometime, and, you know, we were walking around, and we came to sort of a western section, and, you know, we looked around, and we looked up, and there hanging on the wall was a two-headed calf. I was visiting the other day with this rancher friend of mine, and the story that he told me, heck, it dang near blew my mind. He told me he was checking cows down at his cabin sheds, and he was shocked to find, well, just laying there, a calf that had 2 heads. He had to take a double look to verify this sight, and thinking to himself, he says, "Nuh-uh, now that just can't be right." But sure enough, the calf turned around, 4 ears, 4 eyes, and 2 noses, and with a shaky, wobbly motion, on 4 legs this calf arose. Well, his body was quite normal, 4 legs, 1 butt, and 1 tail. I looked at him and asked him if this critter was for sale. Old Festus looked at me and said, "This critter I cannot part." The poor confused old brand inspector would not know where to start. Ear tags are the common way to identify your steer. But do you tag each head or both? Not to mention, heck, which ear? And when it comes to branding, do I burn just one side? Or should I heat it up once more and burn the opposite side? Now these dilemmas got to me and a decision I must make. Do I choose the novelty of 2 heads? Or a big old juicy steak? Thank you. This next one is one that I dedicate to the ranch women. Are there any ranch women in the audience? Yep. Well, this is for you guys. You know, us cowboys, we couldn't get along without ranch women. So this is called Tall Camel Cowgirl. Family ranch on a warm spring day. She'll choose her mount, feed the others some hay. In the tack room, she chooses a saddle to ride. Tall on the cantle, and the stirrups are wide. Hand-braided bosel and McCarty's mohair. No need to be fancy, the cows just don't care. Well-worn leather on batwing chaps, polka dot wild rag with more than 1 wrap. She's ready for work and the steers and the cows. Throws a leg over with jingle owls. Sorting the calves is her task at hand. It soon will be time for her family to brand. The ears of her buckskin are high and alert. His eyes on that bolly, she taps him with quirt. The first 30 cows are sorted and penned. Just a day on the ranch for this cowgirl and friend. She opens the gate, then moves the cows out with a wave of the end, a whistle and shout. She rides slow and easy, moving the cows out to graze. There's no better way to spend these long days. Headed for home, her head she'll twirl. Such is the life of a tall camel cowgirl. Thank you. This next one is one that's just about an old cowboy. And, he's just switching from job to job and just trying to make enough money that he can eat. So it's called a drifter. He was an old cowboy pushing cattle across the Texas plains. Sitting tall in the saddle, he works magic with his reins. They say that he's lived forever, and his stories tell the most. They gather around the campfire and settle down to listen close. He tells the time he made his way across the Great Divide, and the time he rode with outlaws, looking for a place to hide. But mostly he just herded cattle, working as a hired hand. His first drive was in Kansas, working for the Barseed brand. That drive, it took him out to Denver because the owner was to sell. The trail was long, the air was dry, and the sun was hot as heck. From there, he drove a bunch of stock way up to Old Cheyenne, and then he pushed a herd of sheep across the barren land. Took a job of ranch boss on a spread in Idaho, then set out all alone one day and headed south for Old Elko. Took a break from ranching and worked the silver mines. The work was long and dirty, using hammers, picks, and tines. He made a lot of money, but he saved more than he spent, because deep inside he knew he'd ride the trail again. He met up with some Mormons out in Bonneville, but after several months of plowing fields, he knew he had his fill. Agreed to ride the buckboard stage from there to Arizona, and saddled up his horse and made his way for San Antonio. He knew he found a place that he would like to hang his hat. The grass was green, the water clear, and the land was vast and flat. So he built the house and raised some stock, and the herd began to grow. And now he's got the biggest ranch from here to El Paso. But don't you think he lives his life in luxury and rest? You'll find him riding fences and working cattle with the best. I think this will be my last one for tonight, and along with doing classic cowboy poems, with writing my own, I like to do the classics, and this is an old classic cowboy poem, and they say it's probably the most recited cowboy poem ever. It's called When They Finish Shipping Cattle in the Fall. Though you're not exactly blue yet, you don't feel like you do in the winter and the long hot summer days. For your feelings in the weather sort of seem to go together, and you're quiet in the dreamy autumn haze. When that last big steer's been goaded down the chute, then safely loaded, and the summer crew is seized to hit the ball. When a feller starts a dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. Only 2 men left a standing on this job for winter branding, and your partner, he's a loafing by your side. With a brand new saddle creaking, but you never hear him speaking, and you feel it's going to be a quiet ride. But you savvy one another, heck, you know him like a brother. He's friendly, but he's quiet, that is all. For he's thinking while he's dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And the saddle hoss is stringing at an easy walk a-swinging, and behind the old chuck wagon, moving slow. They're weary, gaunt, and jaded, 'cause the mud and brush they've waded, and they settled down to business long ago. No, not a hoss is feeling sporty, not a hoss is acting snorty. In the spring, them brutes is full of buck and ball. But they're gentle when they're dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And the cook, he leads the retreat, perched high upon his wagon seat, with his hat pulled way down forward on his head. He used to make that old team hustle. Now he barely moves a muscle, and the feller could imagine he was dead. Kept that old cob pipe a-smoking, and he lets his team go poking, hitting all the humps and hollers in the road. No, cook, he ain't been drinking, he's just sitting up there thinking about the people and the places that he knowed. And you watch the dust a-trailing and 2 little clouds a-sailing in a big mirage, like lakes and timber tall. Heck, you're lonesome when you're dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. When you make camp that night, though the fire's burning bright, yet nobody seems to have a lot to say. In the spring you sung and hollered, now you get your supper swallered and you crawl into your blankets right away. Then you watch the stars a-shining up there in the soft blue lining, and you sniff the frosty night air, clear and cool. You can hear the night hawk shifting, and your memory starts drifting to that little village where you went to school, with its narrow gravel streets and the kids you used to meet at the commons where you used to play baseball. Now you're far away and dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And your schoolboy sweetheart too, with her eyes of honest blue, best performer in the old home talent show. Boy, you were nothing but a kid, but you liked her, sure you did. Lord, that was over 30 years ago. Then your memory starts to roam, from old Mexico to Nome, from the Rio Grande to the Powder River. But the things you seen and done, some of them was lots of fun, and some of them, well, they make you shiver. About that boy by name of Reedy that was killed in the stampede. 'Twas way up north, you helped him dig his grave. And your old friend Jim the boss that got tangled with that hoss, and fellers couldn't reach him in time to save. You was there when Ed got his'n. Boy that killed him still in prison, and Lucky George is rich and living high. Poor old Tommy come off worst, broke his leg, then died of thirst. Lord, that must have been an awful way to die. Then them winters at the ranches, and them old-time country dances, everybody there was sociable and gay. You used to lead 'em down the middle, just a prancing to the fiddle. Never thought of going home till break of day. No, there ain't no chance for sleeping when the memories come creeping, and sometimes you think you hear the voices call when a feller starts dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. Thank you.
One more time for little Thatch there. Prairie River Buckaroo. Give us a little time here, very short. We're going to set up for little Joe and myself. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Sometimes us boys need a seal of approval, especially when the woman says it's okay. Oh, thank you. Once again, we want to thank our sponsors that made this evening possible, and tomorrow's evening just as possible. Remember, all of the entertainers and performers here this weekend have CDs and they have books, and if they don't, well, darn. But you don't want them wandering around your streets when this weekend's over, so you know, if you can help them out a little bit, buy a CD or one of their books or something. Or just stuff a $5 bill in their pocket. Say, God, you're nice, but we don't want you here. You know, be honest. No, don't be honest. That's terrible. And a lot of them have traveled here on their own 2 bits. Poppa Mac, I think he said it was like 1,300 miles from North Dakota, and it took him 2.5 days or so to get here. Now, he didn't say why.
I'm just wondering if he's going to go back and get that truck.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He is, okay.
He's got to go back and get that truck. It's paid for, that's why. Kind of hot, ain't you? To bring this evening to a close, we're going to do a few songs that have always been close to my heart. I might even do an original, but can't hear them tell. I'd like for you to sit for a minute and quiet, think about it. Back in 1865, cattle were being driven up from Texas. And the drover, the trail boss on this one herd, he brought his son along with him. His son happened to be about 11 years old at the time. And at night, the boy lay there underneath a wagon. And you'd hear the night rovers out there singing with the cattle. And there was this one black man. And he'd sing at night. And the cattle would just kind of calm right down. The boy always remembered this old man singing. And there in the evening, he kind of lulled him to sleep too. When the boy got to be 16 years old, he wrote down the words he'd heard when it's pitch black, maybe a few stars up in the sky. It was that black man out there. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. I'm leaving Cheyenne, and I'm a-going to Montana. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leaving Cheyenne. Now, old paint's a good pony, he paces when he can. Goodbye, my little darling, I'm a-leaving Cheyenne. My foot's in the stirrup, my bridle's in my hand. Good morning, young ladies, my horses won't stand. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. I'm leaving Cheyenne, and I'm a-going to Montana. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leaving Cheyenne. Well, last time I saw her was late in the fall, riding no paint and leading no ball. We spread out our blankets on the green and grassy ground. The horses and cattle were grazing all around. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. I'm leaving Cheyenne, and I'm going to Montana. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. Sometimes late at night when I'm out on the prairie, and all the light that's out there happens to be the old stars themselves, I think about this song. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. I'm leaving Cheyenne, and I'm a-going to Montana. Goodbye, old paint, I'm a-leavin' Cheyenne. Thank you. They call me a drifter, they say I'm no good, I'll never amount to a thing. Well, I may be a drifter and I may be no good, there's joy in this song that I sing. Saddle tramp, saddle tramp, I'm as free as the breeze and I ride where I please. Saddle tramp, saddle tramp. At night I will rest neath the blanket of blue. I doubt if I ever will change. I might even dream of a lady I knew. I might even whisper her name. Saddle tramp, saddle tramp, I'm as free as the breeze and I ride where I please. Saddle tramp, saddle tramp. Might even ride up to Idaho and visit a cute little miss, a sweet little someone I used to know, and I might even stop long enough for a kiss. Saddle tramp, saddle tramp, I'm as free as the breeze and I ride where I please. Saddle tramp. Might even ride back to Phoenix someday. I might even stop for a while. But Brandon, no never, I'll not be tied down trapped by some fair maiden smile. Saddle tramp, I'm as free as a breeze, and I ride where I please. Saddle tramp, saddle tramp, saddle tramp, saddle tramp. Ooh. A lot of performers play and sing this next artist's music, and I am not one of them to be excluded from that. Mr. Dave Stamey is an excellent songwriter. We've played with him several times, many occasions. And he's not always a gentleman, okay? But he's a nice guy. But he has a lot on his plate. You know, he's been Entertainer of the Year, he's been Songwriter of the Year, he's had Albums of the Year, Song of the Year, Male Vocalist of the Year. I mean, the man's got accolades that just go on. But one of his that I've always been impressed with is this simple little campfire waltz. At the edge of the meadow, where the water runs glassy and clean, the horses turned out and grazing on the grass so tall, yeah, and so green, and the moon rises over the ridgeline, and the sky is a blanket of blue. The campfire crackles in 3/4 time. He slipped into my arms, and we danced to the campfire waltz, and the night breezes sang out your name, and we turned and we swayed, and the cares of the day slipped away like the sparks on a flame. Out here where the wild things are, the melody rises and falls on a pine needle dance floor with you in my arms. We danced to the campfire wall. Joe. Surround us like the wind through an old violin. The trees seem to gather around us to watch as we sway, circle and spin, and I wish
dance here forever. But the world waits for us far below. I will always remember the shine of your hair and the campfire's glow. And we danced to the campfire walls, and the night breezes sang out your name. We turned and we swayed, and the cares of the day drift away like the flares of a flame. Out here where the wild things are, the melody rises and falls on a pine needle dance floor. With you in my arms, we danced to the pine with walls. A pine needle dance floor with you in my arms. We danced to the campfire wall. This is what I was doing. Everybody else is up here playing. Here we go all night. We're happy to be back in Shoshone. And it is part of Idaho. And a good friend of mine, Mr. Woody Paul of the Riders in the Sky, he gave me this song. I said, why did you want it? Now, why don't you want it, Woody? And he says, nah, I think you can sing it better. I've dreamed of days I used to roam. Now I long for Idaho. The west winds whisper soft and low along the trails of Idaho. And in my memories I can see the old corral. Old Pete waits for me, and he's still the same old pal. I ride the hills I used to know, along the trails of Idaho. Here's a little joke. Little Joe McCutcheon. In my memories, I can see the old corral. Old Paint waits for me, and he's still the same old pal. The night is falling, campfires glow along the trails of Idaho.
why we came back.
I rode a lot of ranches north of here quite a ways. And I fell in love with the Salmon River country a couple times, a couple of different girls. Thank God the snow would blow and they'd say, "Are you staying the winter?" No. I go where it's warm, damn it. I'm going to show Joe off a little bit more. One more song, and then I'm going to invite all of our artists that have been up here on the stage tonight to come back up for one final song for you. So here's little Joe doing a little bit of a kind of my rendition of, I don't know who wrote it.
Merle Travis, Merle Travis played it.
He played
I
it.
think it was Al Dexter who did the song.
Al Dexter probably wrote this. This 9-pound hammer is a little too heavy for my size, yeah, for my size. So roll on, buddy, don't you load so slow, don't you load so slow. How can I roll, oh, how can I roll when the wheels won't roll? Going too hard just to get a little bruise, just to get a little bruise, yeah. So roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow, don't you roll so slow. But how can I roll when the wheels don't roll? Go. Gonna see my baby, and I ain't coming back. No, I ain't coming back. And when I'm gone, you can make my tombstone out of number 9 coal, out of number 9 coal. So roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow, don't you roll so slow. But how can I roll, yeah, how can I roll when the wheels don't go? So roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow, don't you roll so slow. How can I go, when the wheels don't go? Take us home. Thank you very much. Well, we're getting the rest of the entertainers that perform tonight on the main stage up here. I'd like to remind you, buy our CDs. I'd like to thank our sponsors that have made this possible. I'd like to thank you folks. I'd like to thank Payson and Claudia, the whole volunteer group of Boston Lava, for what they've done here, the work they put into it. And thank you for inviting us back, because we're second home. You know. I got a key and had it 4 years ago. Yeah. I don't even have a key.
Well, we want everybody to get up here now.
Yeah, please.
Come join us. And all the musicians I did.
I don't know if you can bring up just one set of lights back there so we can see a little better. It's all or nothing. Well, Johnny, you and Karla. Here comes Louie. Thatch. I want to hear Thatch sing.
I don't sing, I just stand here.
right in front here, son.
I guess he told you, didn't he?
You're gonna lead these folks in a clap. Kristyn, you got that sage guy there. That's you, I can't remember your name yet. Oh yeah, I knew it was something like sage grass, bunch grass. All the way from Manitoba, we got Poppa Mac.
There he is.
The many strings, Tony and Carol. I was gonna call you. You remind me of an old girlfriend I had. And Mr. Stan Howe. I don't have her anymore either, but. Oh, you gotta have a group picture? This ain't a group picture.
We're gonna take a group picture.
Are we?
Rule about this.
Hold up, yeah, yes.
Stand beside Kristyn. So, excuse me.
Boy, I'll tell you.
But she stands behind Thatch.
It's all right.
Okay, if you guys taking group pictures, get her. There goes them sirens again. They're after you.
Run, sister, run!
Okay. You stand by a wood post, you look better. You stood by a wood post.
Excuse
Post
me, old
look better.
pieces.
No, you'd make the post look better.
I'm
gonna quit here.
You're not getting paid for this.
No, don't.
Oh, by the way, I did get paid.
Suck it in.
I got three buffalo nickels, 2 elk teeth, and I'm doing good.
You're good, okay.
Yes. Hey!
Yeah, there's one of them stick around town now.
Okay.
Group photo.
Whoops.
It's called Why Me Lord. I was walking down the street the other day, and I got in front of this here church. And I looked up that big old steeple and that cross, and I kind of said to myself, why me, Lord? What did I ever do that was worth loving you for the kindness you've shown? Tell me, Lord, what did I ever do that was worth loving you? Oh yeah, I just messed that up, didn't I? All together now. Lord, help me, Jesus, I wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hand. Try me, Lord. You try to find a way I can try to repay all I've taken from you. Well, maybe, Lord, I can show someone else what I've been through myself on my way back to you. Once again, folks. Lord, help me, Jesus, I wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hand. One more time, folks. Lord, help me, Jesus, I wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hand. Thank you, one and all. God bless. Drive home careful. All the entertainers will be back there at the table. Stop by and have a visit. Thanks again, folks. And thanks all the entertainers for tonight.